Hey, Mike.
Hello.
David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Started to get some guys back today, Bland and Cooks, and also Nealon. What were you able to tell from what they were able to do?
Well, we were in a walkthrough, so they were able to participate in that. So it was great to have them back out there.
And the other side of that is, now that you've done some more tests on Zach Martin, do you have a better feel for kind of what he's dealing with?
He was in the rehab group today, so I mean it's a long week, but he's got a couple things he's dealing with.
Clarence Hill, City, Dallas. Working with Dan Quinn the last 3 years, what can you learn from him to take from this game, and what can he learn from you? Can you talk about the chess match of going against a guy that worked under you?
Well, I think the big thing with Dan is, what he stands for, as a coach, in big picture, the culture that I'm sure he's created there. But schematically and just the way they play, that's what we've really been studying the last 2 weeks. You see a lot of similarities schematically to Dan's time here. I think Joe Witt's done a really good job of putting his variation onto it, and how he's calling it is a little different than the way naturally, which is normal, different than the way Dan called it. Definitely fits Joe's personality. Joe and I were together 12 years, so. I think it's when I watch them play, I definitely see Joe's influence on how he likes to play the game. Offensively, I think Dan going with Cliff was an excellent choice, because Cliff does a great job schematically challenging you. Their teams play the right way, so it's a team that's playing really good football. They're doing a good job taking care of the ball, taking it away, things like that. So they're having a good year.
Elaborate on what Joe does different from Dan that you see on film that you know from the past.
You're going to have to watch the game, Clarence.
How would you going to do this and what they do? I'm just saying.
Hey, maybe for the first time in my time here in the history of my tenure, that we'll just try to keep it on the wraps for one day. So.
Jerry's on the radio tomorrow.
Okay, 12 hours. So.
I'm Mike Todd Archer with ESPN. When you have these short weeks, condensed couple weeks here, when you get to the walkthrough process, is it as involved as a normal walkthrough that you guys have, like what we see in training camp and things, or is it more things that you do?
I'd say it's similar to training camp on, I would think, the way you would view it. I'll say this, the walkthroughs, not just in my time here, and I think, frankly, since the pandemic, probably even started before that with the CBA changes, the intensity, the specificness, the detail in the walkthroughs have greatly improved. Now I'm talking, from years and years ago, because you have to walk through so much more in today's game, 17-game season. Being a team that plays on Thanksgiving every year, so you get this stretch of 3 games and in a short period of time. So all those things apply. So, and the point I'm trying to make is I think our guys do a really good job of really locking into the details of the walkthroughs. It's not a stepping point and I got that guy, type deal. It's there's footwork being coached. There's there's specifics of the motion landmarks. The reaction. I think our look teams, especially the group that we have, with our coaches. On our offense versus that look team defense. So the involvement and the intensity of it has been really good. So I actually feel very confident when we have to go through a practice like this. Now it took me it was new for me to be in this mode every year, playing. Because first couple of years we had the Thursday too. So, but to be in this format has really helped us, and I think it really helps you take care of the healthier football team for the longevity of the season. And we've been able to carry that over into our training camp training, and I think it's helped us improve in that space too, because of the 12-hour rule, the 11-hour rule that you have in training camp. So, walkthroughs are critical, and in the involvement, how you do them, the number of reps that you do, and so you have to. It's a big part of how we train.
We talked to Brandon Cooks today, and he said he wants to see guys more joyful through the process, and hopes his return can kind of help with that a little bit. What is it about his personality or makeup do you think that brings that energy?
Well, I mean, it comes to him very natural. I mean, Brandon brings a lot of joy to whatever space he's in. He just has that type of magnetic personality. He's a joy to work with. He loves the process. The thing that I've always enjoyed about Brandon is the number of different experiences that he's had, the number of places he's worked, and how open he is. And you talk about a man that pays it forward, both personally and professionally. He's an incredible example of that. So, but yes, it's great to have him. I mean, he's been here, but to have him out on the field today, I mean, you definitely feel his presence.
John Machado with The Athletic. Dante Fowler, Dorrance Armstrong left here, go there. You guys obviously thought that, Nealon and Sam Williams would replace them in those two spots, but how tough has it been to really replace what you lost without those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, I don't look at it that way. I mean, those guys went with an opportunity, that they felt they needed to do, and everybody's situation is different. I mean, I'm proud of those guys. They're playing very well. Dante's, off the charts. DA is so damn consistent, in the way he's played. So yeah, I mean, just the video I've seen of him, so I've been very impressed. But that's how this game works. The financial component. It changes your team every year. I mean, that's why this is always such a challenge. It changes the dynamic. But I'm happy that they got a great opportunity, and I hope they play like shit Sunday. So.
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. I'm sure it's been a frustrating process for Deron Bland, but how have you kind of seen him go through the process, and how important will it be getting him back on the field?
Yeah, Deron. I mean, I think he's gosh, we miss him, number one, and it'd be great to get him back out there. But this has been a tough return to play for him. So just hopeful that he can cross that threshold. And today was a big day to have him out there. But yeah, he's, every injury is different. And he's the type that, he's going to do whatever he can to get out there. So, I'm just hopefully he can complete the process.
And on the broadcast from Sunday, we saw Dak up in the booth. How has he been able to kind of help in games?
The biggest thing with Dak is just really having him there for support, and he's, he sees things just like, all quarterbacks, and especially you look at the wealth of knowledge that he has through experience. It's great to have another set of eyes up there. You want him to always be involved. In my view, he's still the face of the locker room. And it's a commitment that he takes a lot of pride in, and he still goes to the meetings. He's starting his rehab process on a limited basis that he can. So I mean, he was here today, so he's still putting in the time.
Mike, yesterday John was pretty down when I asked about Marquise Bell. Is there any update about his status?
Yes, he's going to have surgery, in the near future. So, you talk about a young man that's been just so consistent, has done whatever we ask him to do, to go play linebacker last year for as much as he did. I think speaks volumes, but he's been one of John's core guys, just since the day he arrived here. So, we'll definitely miss him this year.
Josh.
Mike, Josh Tolentino, Lone Star Live. CeeDee popped up today with a foot. Did he sustain that during the game? And also, is there any concern with that?
Yes, but he practiced today. So, but I think he'll be okay. Yeah.
And then just to follow up to the last question, with John's response being up here, just I guess could you list like a couple traits of just like how he's able to connect with players, because that felt like a pretty rare moment for him to kind of reflect on what Marquise said.
Oh yeah, I mean, John Fossil's an outstanding human being. Number one, he lives it. He grew up in this profession, so he knows, on a personal level, from every angle. You look at the experience of his father, who's an outstanding coach in this league, and in all the different generations of players that he's been exposed to. So John does a great job connecting, and and like I said, Marquise has been one of his key guys since the day he arrived here. I mean, that young man has played a lot of hard-nosed, tough football for us, and obviously it's very important to John.
Clarence.
Getting back to Washington, D.C. for a minute, you had him in Green Bay. I know it's a competitive thing. Do you feel good about the success he's had? And can you talk about, was there any consideration of having Joe Witt, having him as a DC here?
Yeah, I'll say this about Joe. I think Joe's an outstanding football coach.
Now, we're diving into the latest Cowboys injury news story that perfectly highlights how Dallas simply cannot catch a break this season. Stay tuned because you won't want to miss the full breakdown of what's happening with our squad and how it's impacting our already tough 2024 season. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Your support is essential to us, and we're pushing to reach our goal of 12,000 subscribers. Join the team and help us get there. Your subscription truly makes a difference. Let's call it like it is. The Cowboys didn't set themselves up for success this year. Instead of using their cap space wisely in free agency, they decided to roll the dice with a more with less approach. And we've all seen how that's worked out, haven't we? Sure, Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb got well-deserved extensions, but even after those moves, the Cowboys had room to lock down key starters or bring in reinforcements. Instead, they gambled on drafted rookies filling critical roles from week 1. How's that been working for us, Cowboys fans? Spoiler alert, it hasn't. Here's a question for you. Do you think the Cowboys should have spent more aggressively in free agency? Or was their Moneyball strategy justified? Let us know in the comments below. This is your chance to sound off. If that wasn't bad enough, 2024 has been a season cursed by injuries. Micah Parsons, our defensive powerhouse, has already missed for games, and it's not just him. Key players like Dak Prescott, Demarcus Lawrence, Marshawn Nyland, and Brandon Cooks have all spent time on injured reserve. But wait, it gets worse. Just as we get some good news with CB Darren Bland making his season debut after a grueling recovery from a foot injury, we lose Trevon Diggs. That's right, folks. Bland is back, but Diggs is out for Sunday's game against Washington with a groin and knee injury. It's like taking one step forward and 2 steps back. How are you feeling about this, Cowboys fans? Are we just unlucky, or do you think there's more to this injury epidemic? Drop your thoughts below and let's discuss. And if losing Diggs wasn't enough, perennial All-Pro Zach Martin is also out for this game. Plus, while Brandon Cooks returned to practice earlier this week, he's still questionable and has missed every game since Week 5. There is a small glimmer of hope. The rookie defensive end Marshawn Nyland is set to return, but realistically, even with Nyland back, these injuries aren't turning around the season for a 3-7 Cowboys team. Here's a quick poll for you. Do you think injuries are the main reason for this disastrous season, or is it poor management and coaching? Vote in the comments below, and let's see what the majority thinks. At the end of the day, this season feels like a perfect storm of bad decisions and worse luck. Losing Trevon Diggs just as Darren Bland returns is the ultimate example of how nothing seems to go Dallas' way in 2024. But here's the silver lining. Every setback is an opportunity to grow. With young players like Marshawn Nyland stepping up, we might just see glimpses of hope for the future. Cowboys fans, are you still holding on to hope for this season? Or are you already looking ahead to 2025? Share your perspective in the comments. We're here to talk it out together. That's all for today, Cowboys Nation. If you made it this far, thank you for sticking with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on your Dallas Cowboys. And before you go, let's hear from you in the comments. What do you think is the biggest issue plaguing the Cowboys this year? Injuries, coaching, or something else? Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.